Hi all, I hope all is well. On today's video I wanted to show you what I do for a living, and what I do for a living is actually quite interesting. So as you can see, standing in the middle of a paddock in the middle of nowhere, but I am in nature, which is a bonus, so I can't complain about that. It's obviously early morning, the sun's just peeking up there behind me. And basically what I do for a living is I operate drones. So you can see here, I've got the controller and obviously the drone, which is way over there. So I'll be flying directly over the top of this creek, and I'll actually change the view so you can have a better look. So you can see the truck way over in the distance. It'd be half a K away at least. But unfortunately for today's operations, we tried to get the truck in as close to the operation area as possible, and it got bogged. So we had to pull up, get the truck pulled out. But this is pretty typical of drone operations. Getting bogged is part of the job pretty much, especially here in South East Queensland. It's been quite wet lately. So there you go. You can actually see the drone parked up there, and we've got another fella over there managing the batteries and actually mixing the chem for me. So it's my job basically to pilot the drone back over this creek. From this creek we'll be spraying all these hibiscus. So these are native hibiscus, pretty much any of the vine that you see around here, a lot of this grass and that as well. And then I'll be following the edge of this field all the way around here. So you can see all the way up there, and then right along the edge of that creek I'll be spraying all the way along the edge of that as well. Now the reason we're doing this is not to go out of our way to destroy nature, of course. It's basically to try and recover the fence lines that are hidden away in amongst all these brambles, these shrubs. So there is a fence in there, believe it or not, and that's what the farmer's hoping to actually reveal. We'll go ahead and poison all the grass and that, then they'll burn it out, which will reveal the fence line underneath, and then hopefully they can get in, get it repaired. Now, to do an operation like this, we have to do it in segments. So basically, I just bring the drone over, I land it to conserve the battery, and then I'll reposition myself, because we can't actually lose sight of the drone at all during operations. Losing sight of the drone means extended line of vision, and we're not currently licensed to operate extended line of vision. So we have to keep basically full sight of the drone at all times. So now that I'll just park it up like that, we'll conserve it, and if we just have a closer look, it is quite a big drone as well. For comparison, put the controller on the top there just so you can have a look. It's actually massive. Weighs about 110 kilos all up when it's loaded. So we're looking at spraying this fence line here, of course, and as that's the case, I'll basically just walk up the fence line until I find a suitable position to operate. One of the benefits of operating the drones is you don't have to get sprayed by the chem. You can position yourself so that you don't have to be anywhere near it. Whereas if you're using a backpack, for example, you're going to be right there in amongst it, and same with when you use a tractor. So now that I've found a better position, I'll actually relaunch the drone. And fly back closer to where I'm actually standing. Obviously gauging your distances while you're operating the drone is vitally important, and especially when you're up amongst the trees. You do not want to hit a tree. You only get one shot with the drone. If you miss your opportunity to operate safely, you'll smash your drone to pieces. They're not tractors, they don't roll to a stop. They plummet out of the sky and smash to pieces. I've seen anywhere from $2,000 worth of damage all the way up to $23,000 worth of damage. So it can be catastrophic, especially if you're trying to get into the business for the first time. And as that's the case, you want to put in all the fail-safes possible to ensure that you're going to get your drone back. And of course, I wish you could actually see the drone operation itself, but unfortunately I don't have a GoPro with me, and I don't have any way of recording the drone ops while I'm trying to fly. So you have to use your imagination for the time being. See the drone there in the trees? That's how close we get to them. You You see the drone way over in the distance, and we're just putting it down. Now's the point where the offsider changes the batteries out. Also fill it back up with chem and we'll be good to go. Just for a little bit more information, you can see here on the controller, you can see that we had 24% battery remaining. So we used 3/4 of it just to get it over here. We've also got 21.5 litres of chem remaining. So we don't need to mix any more chem up for this op. For this next flight, we'll basically just bring it back and we'll be good to go. He's just giving me the thumbs up there that we're good to go. And with that, we will be out of here. As you can see, we're not the only bird in the sky. A few eagles poking about. Normally the eagles could be a bit of an issue for the drones, but we are the bigger bird in the sky at the moment, so they will leave us alone. We probably have more troubles with the little peewees than anything else. Those little peewees. Drone that I've ever used for drone operations. Obviously you want to be careful, you just want to poke up above it, activate your spray unit, which is all done manually. The idea is just to give it a good dousing. We don't spray the eucalypts and we don't spray the paper bark. Pretty much everything else is fair game. Now this stretch of fence line here, that will be the next part we'll hit. Obviously we won't spray the trees, but all this grass is fair game. There's that one there. Being down at currently 69%, I'll probably get another couple of minutes of flight time out of it and then I'll have to return it. So we're down to 58% on the battery. It's time to actually take it up here. We'll land it again. Then I'll walk up there and then I'll navigate it back to the truck. And the alarm you can hear is not actually a battery alarm. It's actually the low tank warning. So basically we've gotten to a point where there's no fluid left in the tank and it will sound an alarm just to alert the user that it's time to return it back to the truck to fill it back up. Now the cameras on the drone, they're used for gauging your distances from objects. So one of the most notorious parts about operating a drone is you can never be certain of your distance from objects when you're flying from long distances. So if I was standing half a kilometre away, trying to spray a fence line for that, for example, gauging the distance from the drone to the trees is one of the biggest hazards you'll face as an operator. And it's also one of the biggest hazards that results in a crash. I once had a piece of vine blow in from the top, wrap itself around a prop, and brought my whole drone down. It was like Mother Nature was having a crack at me. A little bit of revenge even. So pretty much now that I've got it landed back over there, you can see the offsider. He's going around, he's filling the drone back up. He's actually replacing the batteries in that as well. You can see the live feed. So we would be, we'd have to be 400 or 500 meters away there, and we're still getting a decent feed for the video. Now I've come to the realization that the footage I took earlier of spraying the hibiscus was absolutely atrocious. So I'll set the camera back up and we'll have another crack. Another patch here that needs to be sprayed out, so we'll go and hit it. with something this size, you definitely need to be soaking. The issue is you're not going to get in deep into the foliage. You're going to have to burn it off the burner. Now, something else that's definitely worth pointing out is while you're doing these manual operations, you can actually see that the app will paint where you've actually sprayed. So all these blue marks here, they're places that I've actually sprayed. It's handy because obviously if you lose track of where you're up to, you know that you've already sprayed that area. It's also worth mentioning that operations such as these manual flight operations where we're spraying fence lines for grass, etc., they're the exception. So they're rarer than normal ops. Normally the operations that I'd be doing is I'd be spraying this entire field out. As you can see, quite a large area, no obstacles. Pretty much we mark around the boundaries of a field like this, and the flights are all automated, so I don't even have to operate the drone. Obviously I'm still piloting, it's still my responsibility, but I don't need to pilot it into the job or out of it. It'll do everything for me. And that blue line, that one right there from my dot back to where the drone is, that's where the sprays were accidentally left on. Now, it was empty when I was over here, so I didn't actually spray that area, but that's why it's appearing as if it has. All of these vines here, they need spraying. Right down to this corner here. I also need to try and get up and amongst these trees as well. Last week when we were here, we actually got on the other side of the creek and I managed to get in between a lot of this. But today I might try and attempt to get some of it from here as well. Running out of battery on its way home. Go backwards as well, so while it may look simple, it's not as simple as it seems. Now these drones are very robust as well, so if there is an incident with them, they are extremely easy to rebuild and quite in He's a little bit too inquisitive. That's right, go that way. Go back out there. You watch him scatter when I put this drone back up. You could actually use a drone like this to herd a cow like that. Or cows. And this marks the extent of our job this way. Basically that corner post. See, he's still there. See there, I've got it right in amongst the trees, just to spray that little patch out in there, all that grass below it. And away he goes again, right towards my landing site. He's the honey badger of cows. Oh, now he's freaking. You go that way. So as you can see, it's never a dull moment out here. That's part of the job, getting bogged, rogue cows, killer eagles, and annoying peewees. So the remainder of this job will entail me spraying out this grass patch here, basically on the insides of this creek bank here, and the grass here going up the levee bank there as well, being careful not to get it in the water. We won't be spraying out any of the trees either. The trees will all remain intact. Yeah. With the exception of that hibiscus there, unfortunately it will have to go. I mean, it will go in the fire anyway, so. Now before I go, I'm actually going to give this a bit of a spray out as well. This has already been hit. You can see a lot of it is starting to brown off, for example over there. But we did have quite a bit of rain, so obviously it's given it a new lease on life. One more hit won't hurt. One more thing before we go, I'll just give you some perspective of where we attempted to drive in here this morning. Obviously it doesn't look too wet, it's pretty solid, but slippery, definitely slippery. To get the ute to pull us out, which almost resulted in the offside of sending the truck into the creek. Except for this little bit up here, this could be a bit dicey. What we got here? I might just pull up and put traction control off. Something's going down. So, a bit of an update on the police cars that we seen going through the cane. Basically what had happened was a lady from the nearby town had gone missing. She'd been missing since last Saturday, and they found her in the cane. So she'd been out there for 4 days. No water, no food, and barely alive from what we've been told. So she's very lucky to have gotten out alive by the sounds of it. So we've moved to our next location. Bit of a drive to get here, but now our job is to spray around the edges of this dam here. Obviously we don't want to hit any of the trees here. It's mainly all the grass that requires spraying. Those brambles and that over there as well, those shrubs, bit of lantana. We can hit all of that as well. As you can see, it is just an absolutely marvelous day out here today. Perfect for ops. Wind conditions are good as well. So using the sat image there, you can actually see exactly the extent of this dam. Runs back up into the cane there, back around the edges here. We could automate some of this, but we're not going to. We'll manually fly the entire lot. Be able to see it down here, hopefully.
Yeah.